Hey friends, and welcome to the Wine CEO podcast. As you can see, I am outside in the summer sun, and that's because today's episode is all about the top 5 wines for your perfect summertime parties. Hey friends, and welcome to the Wine CEO podcast. I'm so excited because this last weekend was Memorial Day weekend here in the United States, and that pretty much is the kickoff of summertime. Even though I live in Florida, I'm not there right now, I'm in Michigan visiting family, but even though I live in Florida and it has been hotter than heck for the last 2 months, it still just doesn't feel like summertime until Memorial Day weekend. I don't know, you pull out the barbecue, you start your cooking, you're by the pool or the beach, and it just feels like it's summer, right? So I'm really excited because while I've done episodes in the past that are all about the best wines to pair with barbecues, cookouts, and more, today I'm rounding up my top 5 picks for your summertime wines. And these are going to be crowd pleasers no matter what party, what the venue, who the guests are, what the time of day. These are going to be the only 5 wines you need this summer. And while you might be expecting this to be a list of the usual suspects of New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc, Pinot Grigio, Rosé, if you've been following the Wine CEO for a while, then you know that I love introducing folks to new wines. And so I am picking some wines that you may not have heard of before. So I'm excited for you to check this out. Okay, so when we're talking about summertime wines, we're thinking of wines that are light, crisp, and refreshing, right? Unfortunately, if you are someone who loves those bold, red, tannic wines, those are really delicious by a fire in the wintertime when you are eating something really hearty. But in the summertime when it's hot out, you are looking for something that's light, cool, crisp, and refreshing, right? So it doesn't mean that there aren't red wines that you can enjoy this time of the year, and I'm going to talk about one of those a little bit later in today's episode, but it means that you're looking for things that are a little bit lighter on the palate. Another thing that I'm typically looking for other than the body of the wine is for it to be a little bit lower in alcohol. That way you can drink a little bit more, enjoy it. It's going to be a little more refreshing because it doesn't have that burn from alcohol, as well as something with a little bit of a lower sugar content. Wines that have higher residual sugar tend to also feel like they have a heavier body. They're a little bit harder to enjoy when you're in the sun on a hot day. So again, we're looking for wines that are going to be dry, crisp, and refreshing as the majority of the styles to enjoy all summer long. Okay, so my first recommendation is Verdejo, and that's actually what I have in my glass today. Verdejo is a white wine that's commonly attributed to Spain. It's known for having delicious notes of citrus and fresh herbs. It is the perfect pairing with fish tacos. And let me tell you, for some reason, fish tacos just make me think of summer. Maybe that's a Florida thing. I don't know. Maybe it's something that you feel as well. But fish tacos to me are the perfect summertime lunch. When you come in off the beach or you're by the pool and you need something that's light and isn't going to be too heavy, fish is light, it's easy to enjoy on a hot day, and then when you pair it with those fresh salsas like a mango salsa or pineapple salsa, oh, it is like tropical heaven for me. So love a good fish taco, and Verdejo with those notes of citrus and herbs is a perfect pairing with fish tacos. The other great thing about a lot of Spanish wines is they tend to be a little more affordable. So if you're buying in bulk for a pool party or family barbecue or a gathering this summer, Verdejo is going to be an awesome pick. My second pick for you is Assyrtiko, and Assyrtiko is a white grape variety that is commonly attributed to Greece. And if you caught my recent mini-series on Greece, then you probably know why I am so obsessed with this grape variety. Assyrtiko is amazing, and it's commonly attributed to the island of Santorini. Grown throughout most of Greece, the Kyklades island group really helped make this grape famous through tourists that were traveling to the island area. So since this grape is from an island, you can imagine that the wines have incredible notes that pair perfectly with summertime, as well as seafood and a lot of other great summertime dishes. So Assyrtiko tends to have notes of citrus and salinity, so think like salt water from the sea. They pair absolutely perfectly with food, and what I love about Assyrtiko is that there are a lot of styles out there. So you can find an Assyrtiko that's light, crisp, and refreshing. You can also find an Assyrtiko that has maybe seen a little bit of oak exposure. It's been aged, and so those Assyrtikos are going to have even more body. So you could find an Assyrtiko that's a great example to go sipping by the pool or beach in the morning or afternoon, but then also a heavier, more fuller bodied Assyrtiko that would be perfect with dinner time. So I love that there's a lot of great examples of Assyrtiko for you to explore this summer, and it is an amazing grape variety that I think is not quite as well known around the world, but should be. The thing to keep in mind about Assyrtiko, especially examples from Santorini, is that they are a little bit pricier. So I mentioned the price point of Verdejo a moment ago is going to be rather affordable. Assyrtikos could set you back a little bit more. So keep that in mind when you're planning and maybe enjoying this wine throughout the summertime. Okay, so next up, my third option is going to be for all of my bubbles fans out there, and it's probably going to surprise you, my pick today. So I feel like usually on the show, I'm always recommending Cremant, Cava, or other sparkling alternatives to champagne. I love champagne, but with the price point, it's not always an everyday sipper. But for the summertime, I actually recommend Prosecco. Now, Prosecco is made in a very different style than the traditional champagne method, and because of that, I think it has a little bit of a bad rap, and a lot of folks look at Prosecco and immediately assume that it is a lesser quality, cheaper wine, but that is not the case. Yes, there are some very cheap ones that are made, and unfortunately, because of the mass production needs of Prosecco, there are many low quality ones out there. But if you know how to look for the right Prosecco, you can find an absolutely incredible example of Prosecco that is going to be delicious and blow a lot of other sparkling wines you may have had out of the water. So what you want to be looking for in a top quality Prosecco is Prosecco Superiore, specifically from the regions of Conegliano and Valdobbiadene. These regions are known for creating the top quality Proseccos that are going to be the most excellent examples you can find on the market. Now, the reason I love Prosecco for the summertime is that Prosecco tends to have really delicious, crisp, refreshing notes of citrus, fresh fruit, whereas a lot of champagnes and champagne-style sparkling wines, they go through a process where they're aged on lees and they tend to have more full notes of creamy nuttiness, really heavier bodies, and that flavor is a delicious flavor profile, but for me it's not quite as refreshing in the summertime. I want something that's more crisp, light, and refreshing, and so that's where I lean toward Prosecco. Additionally, Prosecco tends to have larger bubbles, and so that gives you a little bit of a fuller, refreshing feel when you are enjoying the Prosecco on your palate, whereas champagne has this kind of moussey, creamy frothiness, which again is delicious, but I tend to enjoy on a really hot day something that's going to be a little more crisp and refreshing on the palate, and so that's where Prosecco can really win out as well. Now, because Prosecco Superiore tends to be a much higher quality Prosecco compared to some others that you may be used to seeing in the grocery stores, these bottles could set you back anywhere from $40, $50, $100 or even more. So definitely something to keep in mind, that if you're going to look for a high quality Prosecco, a Prosecco Superiore, you are going to pay a little bit more for these wines. Also, if you love rosé, keep in mind that rosé Prosecco is a thing. I did an episode last Valentine's Day about how Prosecco just started making rosé versions as well. It's now allowed in the region, and so you can also find some amazing rosé Prosecco versions out there for the summer. And if you are a big fan of rosé wines, then my wine number 4 recommendation is for you. A lot of folks in the summertime love Provence style rosés, and Provence rosé is delicious. It's very light, it's crisp and refreshing, and so it ends up being a perfect summertime option. But as I mentioned earlier, I love introducing folks to new things, so I want to tell you today about Rosé d'Anjou. Rosé d'Anjou, or Rosé of Anjou, is actually from the Loire Valley region in France. Now, Rosé d'Anjou is meant to be enjoyed nice and cold, and so that's perfect on a hot day when you want a wine that is really supposed to be nice and cool. This is a great option. Now, the main grape in Rosé d'Anjou is Gruyère, and Gruyère is known for having light red fruit notes of strawberries and watermelon, so really delicious on a hot summer day. This is the main grape that's in the blend, but there are other grapes like Gamay, Cabernet Franc, Cabernet Sauvignon, Malbec, and even some others that are minor from the region that can be blended into this wine as well. All in all, though, Rosé d'Anjou tends to be dry, really light and refreshing, lighter in color, acidic, makes it a perfect pairing with foods. This is a wine that you can enjoy during the daytime if you're just chilling by the pool or having an afternoon at the beach, but it will also stand up to foods in the evening when you're having dinner. So definitely a great option for the summertime. It can be a little bit harder to find Rosé d'Anjou in your typical supermarket, so it might be something to buy online. You can check out wine.com, Vivino, or another online retailer, but definitely an awesome wine to check out this summer. And then my 5th and final pick for you today, if you are a red wine lover, listen in, this is the wine for you. I love red wine, and even in the summertime, I want to be able to enjoy a nice glass of red. But as I mentioned earlier, often a lot of red wines tend to be higher in alcohol, have a lot of tannins, and the structure does not exactly lend to a really hot day. But here's where the amazing grape Gamay comes in. Gamay is a light-bodied red grape that often has notes of pomegranate, banana, fresh fruit, and it's meant to be served chilled. So it's a delicious red wine for the summertime because even on a hot summer evening, you can enjoy a cold glass of Gamay and it will still cool you down and be nice and refreshing. Now, Gamay is often attributed to Beaujolais, a southern region of Burgundy in France, but there are a lot of growers in California, New York, and other regions around the world that are starting to grow Gamay, and they're doing an amazing job at it. So it's definitely a grape to check out, especially if you love red wine and you want to enjoy something chilled but still refreshing throughout the summertime. So there you have it, friends. Those are my 5 wine picks for this summer. Hopefully you learned about something new and maybe found a wine that you want to check out in the coming weeks. Drop a comment below. Let me know what you loved about today's episode. And as always, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. If you have any questions at all about this episode or wine in general, don't hesitate to send me an email, sarah@thewineceo.com, or send me a DM on Instagram @thewineceo. Until next week, friends, drink something new and delicious, and I will catch you all in the next video of The Wine CEO.